Well, I'm back again. I'm here to talk about something that we haven't talked about before, and I'm just going to jump into it. Today, I want to discuss, I'm going to talk about like school shooting scenarios that schools do, and some of the stuff. I want to talk about schools and the school shooting scenarios and such. So when my son was in school, elementary school, they had school shooting scenarios. What to do in case of an actual shooter at your school. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about school shooting scenarios, school shootings and stuff like that. One, I wonder, why are school shootings, it's almost like they're so popular nowadays. One of the reasons we have they're so popular is because we have young kids that are starving for attention. You can, by the way, look at the kids nowadays, these teenagers especially, in high schools and stuff. Look, they're just starving for attention. They don't get enough attention, so they starve for it. So how can they get a lot of attention? If somebody does, a school shooting, oh my gosh, they blow it up all over the news. You will hear about it all over the world. They're going to be famous for the 15 minutes of their life. They're going to hear. That's all you're going to hear about. They don't care that they're going to prison for the rest of their lives, or they don't care if they get killed in the event of this or whatever. I think a major part of it is because of the news. The news blows it out of just beyond anything, and that's all they talk about. It's on every single channel because every single news source has to have a camera person there. Hey, we're live here at the school shooting. Anytime you see a school shooting, all you see are news crews all over the place. Hundreds of news crews are all there from all over the country, all over the world. Oh my gosh, we gotta talk about this school shooting. So they're going to blow that person up beyond anything so they can be seen all over the world, that school shooter, and that's the biggest problem. That is probably the number one problem in my mind, and in what I think is the problem when it comes to school shootings. Now, I want to talk about the scenarios that I hear the police departments are having with the schools, and the schools have these shooting scenarios. First off, every single shooter scenario that I've ever seen and heard about at the schools itself, online, every single shooter scenario has the same exact scenario. And I'm saying that because the scenario that they give never, ever, ever, ever in the history of the world has ever happened. Never has that scenario ever happened. So it's always, the shooter scenario is always some random 40-year-old white guy shooting the school up. Just some guy who's 45 years old. It's usually, not always color, but it's always, they have to depict, what's going on. They come over the school announcement. We have an active shooter in the car circle outside. A 45-year-old white male on the outside of the building. He's here to shoot the school up. Never, ever has that happened. Some random person coming to shoot up the school. Never happened. In the history of all shootings, that has never happened. So, going back to when my son was in school, there was a shooter scenario, and my son got in trouble at school. And the situation was, he was sitting in class, I think he was in 3rd grade, and they came over, they had the alarm drop, whatever, shooter scenario drill. They were evacuating the school they said there was a active shooter in the car circle in front of the school. So they evacuated the school. They had all the kids run out the back door of the school, across the field, the gym field, the playing fields. There's a fence along the side of the school on the other side of the field where a road was. It was a one-way road. On the other side of the road was another fence with a cemetery. So the fence on this side of the school was a 6-foot fence, chain link fence, between the school and the road. So they opened the fence up and they had all the kids run across the field, to the other side, to the road. And where the road was, they had all the kids out there in the road between the two fences, between the cemetery and the school. My son, 3rd grade, refused to leave the building. So they're yelling at him, "Why? You have to do this. You have to do this." He said, "No, I'm not going to." He fought with them. The security guy, the armed guard that they had, the police officer at the school, came over and said, "What's going on?" The guy knew me. I knew the security guard there, the police officer on duty. He knew my son. When he saw my son, he automatically, his brain was like, okay, I probably know where this is going. He went up and said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Well, he's refusing to go with the other kids." So they said, "Why are you refusing?" So my son tells them, "You're telling us there's an active shooter in front of the school shooting up the front of the school. He's shooting from the parking lot in his car into the school. And you're taking everybody out of the school between two fences in the road. So all this guy has to do is drive out of the parking lot, since he's doing a drive-by anyways, drive out of the parking lot, turn right, go to the next street, which is the street where all of the children are, turn right, while shooting at all the kids, killing them that are standing in the street, and driving over them, killing as many people as he possibly can. And it would be the most deaths ever in school history of a shootings, ever happen. That would have the most deaths ever, with some guy shooting, because he's got all the guns right there in his car. He's got a car to run them all over. And my son explains this to them. And of course, the security guard completely 100% agrees, because he's got common sense. I spoke to this guy, and he agreed that the shooter scenarios that they have are the dumbest things ever, because it never, ever will happen, has not happened. So my son gets in trouble because he does not participate in this scenario, and he makes common sense of it all, because he is 100% right. The safest place for your child to be would be inside a locked building, doors shut, windows locked, doors locked. If the guy's outside shooting, call 911. So let me bring that up real quick. Today, most people, when they see an active crime happening, if they actually seen a guy outside of a school with a gun shooting through the windows, they wouldn't pick up their phone and they wouldn't call 911. They would turn the camera on and videotape it. "Oh, look at me, I'm going to be the next big YouTube star ever. I'm going to videotape this, and it's going to be the best thing ever." So that's what they don't stop to call 911. I listen to scenarios every day, and I see real life stuff. Facebook is one of the dumbest things ever, because people on Facebook always on a daily basis they put the people they're videotaping and taking pictures of people breaking the law. And I always say, "Did you bother calling 911? Oh, we should call the police? No, I had to videotape it so all my friends could say, oh, hello, duh." Exactly, that's what's going on here. You call 911. The school, if you know there's an active shooter, you don't tell everybody go outside. Hurry up, run out the front door towards him. If enough of us attack him, he'll stop. No, you don't tell him to run outside. Lay down on the floor inside the building. But so after the shooter scenario, this particular one, my son got in trouble 3 different times or 4 about shooter scenarios. So after the fact, they go to the gymnasium and they have all the kids sitting there and they have questions and answers. So they're asking questions about what happened today, about the shooting scenario. So they're in there, and the police officer, it was an actual police officer from the city that was there, answering questions, because that's all they do is they go through all this training on scenarios that will never happen. I don't know. I say, it's almost like a podcast of its own there too. All these police, every time you talk to the police departments, I don't know what police do, because all they ever do after they go through schooling and training to be a police officer, then it seems like they spend 90% of their time doing scenarios, training. Shouldn't it be on-the-job training? Nothing will prepare you more and prepare you better than actually being out there in the real world doing the real job. All these stupid scenarios that they do never happen. They don't happen. I'm gonna talk about self-defense people. They always have these scenarios. These self-defense scenarios never happen in the real world. But it's always the same stupid thing that all these self-defense people show people. It's the same exact scenario every single time. It's stupid. Anyways, so they're in the gymnasium. They're asking questions. My son, yes, what's your name? My name's Ben. What's the question? Well, you guys did a scenario that will never happen, and it never has happened in the history of school shootings. So my question is, you always have the scenarios of a random man coming to the school and shooting up the school. And in history, every single school shooting has always been somebody involved with the school, has something to do with the school in some way, shape, or form. Most of all the time, it's a student or a former student of that school, and there's still a link somewhere because of that. But it's always somebody there that's connected with the school in some way, shape, or form. 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, it's always somebody connected with that school. Somebody being bullied, somebody having whatever the case may be, a bad day, something happens. So that is it. So, but my son explains this and points out that the person is always connected with the school. You always show us somebody, random guy walking down the street or driving his car decides to come shoot at the school. Bang, 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 bang. So my son says, well, that was one of the times. And so they said, we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. Well, maybe next time we'll ask it. So next time comes around, my son asks a different question, because it's the same thing. What are we supposed to do in a real life situation that has actually happened in an actual shooting? So my son, yes, Ben, police officer, once again. So my son says, once again, explains how the fact that it's always some random person doing the shooting. So my son says, besides that, he says, well, what are we supposed to do when it is our teacher that has brought a gun to school and decided to start shooting kids? That has happened. What about little Tommy or Jimmy or Julio? They brought a gun to school, they're in class, they pull it out, and they start shooting people. What are we supposed to do? What if it's the crazy cat lady principal? What are we supposed to do if it's her? What if it's the librarian that's having an affair with the janitor, and the husband finds out and he comes to the school because there's a connection? He's not there necessarily to kill the kids. He's there to get the janitor and his wife. What if it's the cook in the kitchen, the lunch lady? What if it's the bad day for the lunch lady? What if she's been the lunch lady? She's been teased every day for her life for the past 5 years by these little kids at the school that are being mean and hateful, because that's how kids are. They're so mean and hateful, and they pick on one another. Oh, we can't bully, Tommy. Don't you be bullying. That we just can't have that. No. Whatever, man. So, that's the real scenario. What happened, but they don't never talk about the real scenarios, the real things that actually happen. Nobody has had to fight their way into a school for a shooting, because it's normally a student or a faculty or a child of a faculty, an old student that used to go to school there. So on the one guy that shot up the school, his mother worked at the school. He walked in the office. Oh, let little Johnny in. Buzzer, buzz. There, Johnny, come on in. Hi, you going to see your mom? Okay, go see your mom. So he walks in the school with a couple of guns. Wait, we got to hold on. It's an AR-15. He had to have an AR-15. The assault rifle of all school shootings is the AR-15. Anyways, so you have this particular situation. The kids, what are they supposed to do? They give scenarios that never happen. Your kids are confused going to school with shooter scenarios. What happens when it is the principal that goes nuts that day? What about the teacher? What about the students that normally are the ones that are shooting the school up? Normally, I think it's 85% of the time out of all school shootings, it's always been a student of the school that comes to school to shoot up the school. That's like 85% of the time. I think I actually think it was like 86%, which let's get that extra percent. But still, 86% of the time, it is a student. The other 14% is somebody that's related with the school. Teacher, principal, lunch lady, janitor, bus driver, math teacher, English teacher, whatever it may be, the shop teacher, whatever. So it's always somebody related, or that's in the school. Here's a good one. What if the guy that's carrying the gun in the school nowadays, the police officer, the armed guard that are at all schools now, the armed police officer, what if it's his day to go nuts? What if he's the one that went off the deep end? Well, he's a security guard. He's not. He's there. He's an armed guard in the school. He's not going to have any problems. He's trained for this. But if he's having a bad day and if he goes off the deep end, there's nothing stopping him. He's already got a gun. He's inside the building with the gun. It's easy for him to bring in a gun. And nobody's checking how many guns he has. And I can tell you there's lots of teachers that are carrying guns and they're not telling anybody because they're not being checked. So they're not carrying AR-15s either. So, with these scenarios and all these things that people are doing, it's wrong. It's not right. Why don't we teach our children the reality and what to look for? Keep an eye out. What do they always say? See something, say something. See something, say something. See something, say something. Yeah, I seen a gun in my teacher's purse. Yeah, my teacher was cleaning off the blackboard. Mr. Smith was cleaning off the blackboard, and he lifted his arm up, and I noticed he had a gun in his back. So, should we be concerned or alarmed? Not necessarily. But we know he's got a gun. So, nobody's checking these people. And like I said, and people like the school my son was going to, man, they had so many problems. They fired so many people. They brought in a new principal, and she was off her rocker. She was nuts. She needs to be on a watch list. But yet, and then they removed a principal to bring her in, and she fired all kinds of people. I mean, that's like, you're asking for trouble. They bring they cause issues within these schools. Not to mention that people already have problems outside the school, marital issues, problems, kids being bullied constantly and made fun of, and all this other ignorant stuff that's going on. So they're going to get mad. They're going to build up and build up and build up, and then somebody one day is going to snap. They're just going to snap. Because that's what happens. People can only take so much, and then they snap, and it happens every single day. Somebody snaps, and just because they're a police officer does not mean they're disqualified for that day that for them to snap. Oh my gosh, there's a good friend of the family's was a police chief. He was a police chief. It was his day to snap, but his wife was cheating on him, and he's a police officer. He's carrying a gun. He starts shooting. He started shooting people. Fortunately for everybody that he shot, they survived. Even his wife, he shot his wife point blank in the head. She survived. He ended up killing himself, and he did die, but he was the only one that died. But the point is, you're not exempt. If you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a firefighter, if you're an EMT, if you're a police officer, if you're the president of the United States, you're not exempt. You're not exempt from snapping and going nuts. Because you're a principal, you're not exempt from going nuts. Because you're a teacher, you're not exempt. We're all human, and we all have a breaking point. So, and nowadays they have so much ignorance. Oh my gosh, I was teased so much when I was in school, but it didn't bother me. I just teased them back, and then the other kids would get mad, and then you embarrass them, and they're like, if I had oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Nowadays, my son picked up a stick at school and was like, acting like it was a gun. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised they did not expel him. I got a phone call immediately. We don't do this. Oh my gosh. So my son, at the age of, by the time he was 9, has shot more guns than the average male. Oh my gosh, I can't even sit here. The AR-15, the AK-47s, he's full autos, he's 9mm. You name the gun, he's probably shot it. So different, every caliber, from 22 on up. So 30-30, he has not shot a 30-30, but I pretty much, I would say everything else. So here's the thing that we teach gun safety. And my son and our kids, we have 6 total kids, we have left guns out on the table, next to the bed. We keep guns out, they keep guns out. The grandkids don't bother the guns. Our kids never had a problem with guns. We've shot their whole life. We have a son that's a police officer, and we've never had an issue with anybody. It's about teaching people right and wrong. What's right, what's wrong. So I know people out there, some of you defense people, no, that's not the way it is. You've got to lock everything up. No, you don't. A gun does not do you any good inside a locked up cabinet. So you're not going to be able to react quick enough if somebody's kicking your door in. So I don't care what you say with all these new stupid safes that they got. All you have to do is put your fingers on a certain way, it opens right up. No, my gun sits right next to my bed. It's right there. I all but sleep with that underneath my pillow. So And it really depends on where I'm at too. So, but I'm just saying, when you're armed, you're armed. You know, you're gonna find a gun sitting next to the door. So, and you're gonna know that I know how to use it, and my youngest son knows how to use it, as well as my oldest knows how to use it. So we teach them, because if somebody's kicking the door in, shoot to kill. So that's all there is to it. So with all these stupid scenarios that they do, and all these shooter scenarios, even in the home, and self-defense people, the scenarios are stupid that they do. And never in history does it ever happen. So when you're, so just my thing is, it's very aggravating, because I keep hearing about these stupid things, and you hear about, well, shooter scenarios. That never happened. It's not some random person that decides to come shoot up the school. Never has it happened. If it has, I yet to hear about it or see it or find it anywhere. Now, I'm not talking about when people drive into a crowd in a city. I'm talking about school shootings. So shooter scenarios on other places, but it's all planned out, but it might have taken, it might be 10-minute planning. Somebody might have snapped out there on the road. They came home, got their gun, and they went back. And then somebody just felt the blunt of it, So these scenarios, like I said, and there's reasons behind them. Normally it's because somebody's being bullied or picked on. So teach your kids to have a backbone and walk away from it. Give it back, Somebody hit you, hit them back. That's the way it goes. Well, the bigger man walks away. He sure does. The bigger man just walks away. Well, you can walk away. You don't have to stand and fight, but you can walk away and be done with it. I've done it, and I can tell you that I've given it back too. And I can tell you that when you give it back, it does make things worse sometimes. But however, a lot of times it just goes away, because they're like, okay, I just call them a poopy face, and he called me a bigger poopy face. Oh my gosh. So I'm done with him. But anyways, it's kind of, you got to think about these things. But let's be realistic when it comes to it. Let's do real scenarios. I hear about police officers and some of their training. They train on stuff that's never happened. They have scenarios that never happened, never will happen, never ever happen. My mom, years ago, she passed away, but she went to a self-defense seminar. A self-defense person came to the church for all the ladies and older people, the elderly people, to give them self-defense things. One of his things he said was he recommended mace, and he was selling mace, and he sold mace to all these old people. And then he gave them scenarios of stuff, how to protect yourself. First off, I'm going to tell you, mace is the dumbest thing you'll ever have in your pocket or on you ever. What it will do, mace is wonderful at stopping yourself. If you have somebody that's messed up on crack or bath salts that's coming at you, and you pull out your little mace and you spray it, you're always going to get that mace. And if you do it in an enclosed area like your car or your home, forget it, you're done. The guy that's all screwed up or woman that's all messed up on bath salts or crack, they're coming to kill you. You're done. You just help them get you better, because all you did with that mace when you sprayed it, is you just filled the room with stuff that's going to burn your eyes more than it is theirs, because it's not going to affect them. And for this guy to sell everybody mace and to recommend mace, no, he's telling, well, if somebody's in your car, you spray the mace out. No, you don't. Get a gun and shoot them in the head. That stops them. Mace just makes them mad. It's like bear spray. I love these new scenarios with the things that they talk about. Well, you need bear spray. Bear spray, all that's going to do is when you spray a bear, well, what's going to happen when you spray a bear with bear spray? It's going to help the bear kill you quicker. And that's the same thing with the being attacked by somebody that's messed up on meth or crack or bath salts. When you spray them, all you're going to do is anger them, and you're just going to help them kill you quicker. So I guess that's a good thing. So, because that's what's going to happen. You're not stopping them. Get a gun. You don't need a cannon. For all you other idiots out there, you gotta have a 45 caliber. Whatever, man. Seriously. A simple gun you can handle. The most deadliest gun, the most deadliest round in the world. More people have died from a 22 than anything else. That is the most lethal weapon. If you have a 22 and you decide to shoot somebody that's attacking you with the 22 and it's a 7-shot, you're going to shoot that guy 7 times. You're going to have 7 shots put into that person that's attacking you, and you're going to kill them. If you have a 45, if you can lift it up, I don't care who you are, and you can disagree with all, and you can sit there all you want and say, oh, I'm Mr. Billy Bad Butt, I can handle a 45 or a 40, I need that big gun for intimidation, because that's exactly what you sound like. A 45 or a 40 or even a 9mm on some guns, the first shot you might hit them. The second, third, fourth, fifth, and anything else past that, you're not going to have a grip on it, and you're going to shoot the ceiling. I can tell you from experience, being in homes from home invasions, when I was a firefighter EMT, we would show up to a home invasion where the homeowner was being the victim of being the crime, but he shot back, and 9 times out of 10, they never shot the person, because in a panic situation, they grabbed their big 40 caliber gun and they went to shoot. They missed the first shot, and then you see bullets all the way. I seen in a scenario, or not a scenario, but an actual shooting, the guy after the 7th shot ended up behind him in the wall, because he went bang, 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 back behind him, shooting the gun at a guy that was in his hallway, and he never did shoot the guy. Most of the time with the big caliber guns, they might shoot them. They get them usually in the shoulder. They don't kill them. They end up wounding them or making them mad because the gun is too big, and then the kickback from the gun. So, and all you guys out there that are getting, well, I got my carry permit. I got my carry permit. You went to these places, I'm not going to mention any names here in Tampa, this huge gun shop here that loves to give out, permits, concealed carry permits. They use the laser guns now. A laser gun, you're going to hit all 7 shots bullseye every single time, no matter what distance. You're going to be able to, because you go bang, 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 and it clicks. But you don't, tell you what you don't get is when you fire that laser, you don't get that recoil. You don't get that jerk. You don't get that. Every time you fire that gun, it's not going back. So a gun at 22, you're going to handle that 22 better than any other gun. You're going to be able to fire that gun and keep a handle on it and keep a grip on it. In a panic situation, you're going to have problems. Now, if you are somebody that can shoot, I've been through this. I've had people tell them many times, put the gun down, say now, grab that gun, pick it up and unload it. So in a panic situation, you're not going to have that. If you're at a school and you're a teacher during a school shooting, you're going to be scared for your life. And if you are carrying a gun as a teacher and you're in a school and there is a shooter scenario or a shooter at your school, you're going to be freaking out. So, and I can promise you, when you shoot at them, you're not going to be sitting there going straight up, waiting to shoot them. You're probably going to be behind a wall just shooting randomly if you decide to shoot back. More than likely, you're probably going to run and hide and, whatever the case may be. So, but the thing is, like I said, with these scenarios, they're wrong. And we need to teach our kids right. In these schools, all schools, you need to get it right. Stop doing scenarios that aren't really ever going to happen. What happens when that 3rd grader that second grader, the fourth grader, fifth grader, all the way up in that's kindergartner, what happens when they're sitting in class and their teacher standing in front of them holding a gun? There was an incident, a woman teacher, she stood in front of her classroom, pulled out a gun, and the kids were sitting there like, what the heck? I think they were 6th or 7th graders. She didn't shoot anybody, thank God, but she shot herself in the classroom. They were not. What are they supposed to do? What are the kids supposed to do when it's their teacher holding a gun in front of them? So what is the kid supposed to do when it's their principal? What's the kid supposed to do if it's the janitor? What's the kid supposed to do if it's the police officer, the man with the gun, holding the gun in front of them? What are the kids supposed to do? So I'm going to tell you, but when I was, my son was in school, son's in 3rd grade, he doesn't need a cell phone. What would my son need a cell phone for? Well, the security guard at the school, I was talking to him and I said, he asked me, he said, does your son have a cell phone? I said, no. I said, he doesn't need a phone. He doesn't need to be contacting his friends. He doesn't need to have a phone. And although I'm always thinking about everything, never once did I think about this. And now I'm like, what was I thinking? How stupid was I? If your child is in school, he needs to have a phone. She needs to have a phone. Kindergarten, 1st grade, senior, no matter, all kids should be equipped with a cell phone so they can call 911 in event of an emergency. If they're sitting in school, they can possibly, one of those kids are going to be able to call the authorities quicker than anybody else. And I used to think, well, my son doesn't need a phone. Then the security guard was like, Ray, your son needs a phone. Next day from having that conversation, my son went to school with the phone. We got him a phone that night because he was right. What happens when, I always said, what are they supposed to do if the teacher is the one that goes nuts? The teacher's the one standing there with the gun. What if little Tommy has a gun? So, and here's another thing. Well, if you see a child, when I was in school, there was a kid that brought a knife to school, and I remember some of the kids told, hey, he's got a knife. Oh, whatever. So same thing goes with guns. In my lifetime, I had 3 kids that I know brought guns to school talking about harming other people. So the one guy was arrested. The other 2 they never even know they had a gun. I knew kids at school that had guns in their locker because they were afraid, because they were always bullied and stuff going on all the time. So in these events that these things may happen, you have to understand, what are they supposed to do? What is a kid supposed to do? You know, we're supposed to teach them. We're supposed to make them understand. But showing them things that will never ever happen, how are they? That scenario is never going to happen. They have nothing to worry about because that guy's on the outside of the building. The only thing they have to worry about is when the school sets them up to die, to have them all, well, there's a shooter scenario. There's a guy that just walked in the office and he wants everybody to go to the gym right now, or he's going to shoot one person in the office. You're going to make an announcement and tell everybody to go to the gym so that guy can sit there with the guns and start picking people off? No, you shouldn't anyways. I mean, if you're that selfish and you don't care about anybody's life, I guess the majority of people probably would be like, okay, everybody go to the gym right now because I'm not losing my life. But if there's one person in the office, you got the chance to save everybody's life, you're going to die anyways. That would be a shooter scenario that you should be doing. What do you do when somebody walks in the front office with a gun? You've never had that scenario. So what are you supposed to do? What do you do when you're at lunch and the lunch lady pulls out a gun? Oh, I don't know, because that doesn't happen ever in history. It's always some random guy. Yeah, whatever. So, and back to the guys, these people who teach self-defense and all this other garbage. I've only seen one person ever teach the right way of self-defense and protecting yourself and doing these things. But however, like I love I love the guys that hand you the fake gun. Here, hold this plastic gun. Now put it to my chest. I'm going to take that out of your hand in just seconds. You know, the old Jackie Chan move. That's funny because and Jackie Chan does that move in quite a few movies, and you've seen that more than anything. That scenarios happen in movies more than anything, but never, ever, ever, never, ever has that situation ever happened in real life. If somebody's robbing you, they're not coming up and they're not going to take their gun out and put it right to your chest, 2 inches from your chest, and say, "Give me your wallet." And then you say, "Oh, I learned this move. Look, I got his gun." Ha ha ha. No, not going to happen. Chances of somebody doing that are slim to none. Chances of somebody walking up to you and shooting your dumb butt 15 feet away, that would happen. So somebody just coming up and stabbing you, that would happen. Somebody's not going to, "Hey, I'm going to stab you if you don't give me your money." A lot of times now they just stab you and take your money. They just shoot you and take your money. That's the way it is. So you have to know with somebody coming up, you can't disarm somebody that's 15 feet away from you. When you see somebody coming at you, me and my wife were in a situation. We were sitting in the car, windows down, beautiful Florida night. We're sitting at a traffic light. I see 2 guys walking across the street, and I say to my wife, "It's a bit warm to be wearing big long coats, don't you think?" I said, "Grab your gun." My wife pulls out her gun. We're sitting there in traffic. The guy starts coming up to walking straight up to me. The other guy went around the other side of the car. Before they got to the car, he was a good 15 feet away from me. I told him, "Stop, or I'm going to shoot." I don't know the situation. All I know is it looks bad. There's 2 of them, there's 2 of us. We're both carrying. I don't see a gun yet. I don't need to. And I told him, "Stop, or I'm going to shoot through the door. You will die." So he stops. He's like, yo, what's up? We were just wanting to see if you had, we just needed some money. "Yeah, you were here to rob me. So you come any closer, we're going to open fire." They got the heck out of there. They ran. That was a scenario. I did not wait for them to get in my face to do something. And of course, it would be extremely stupid on their part to get in my face, to put a gun in my window in my face. I would probably be able to disarm them quickly and shoot them, but I was ready before they were because I noticed them before they even started. I saw them and I stopped. I looked and I told my wife, "Got your gun? Get it. Pull it out. Get ready, just in case." Because they split up and then they're coming right. You could see it. You could see it coming. And a lot of times you will, if you're paying attention. You have to be looking at your surroundings. Now, are you going to be ready for every scenario? And you're not going to ever be ready for any scenario. You will never, I don't care how much training you have, I don't care who you think you are, and who the movies portray people, but you will never be ready for the scenario that's going to happen. Never. You never know what's going to get out of hand. You never know what's going to take place. You never know. But the least you could do is use real life scenarios that actually have happened when people actually do the things they do. Use things that really, really actually happen. Police officers get trained constantly. That's all they seem to do is training. But yet they're not trained for what will happen out on the street. They're not trained for when they go up to that. The scenarios I see like police officers doing, that's why I couldn't be a cop. It's too stupid. So when I was a firefighter, we did scenarios. We did scenarios that we actually used in the field because they used actual things that actually happened. There's a building on fire. The whole first floor is engulfed in flames. We cannot get access. Smoke-filled building. We're entering to the 3rd floor where there's people I'm going in and I'm getting the people out. I train for that, train for that, train for that. So now I know how to go in and do that. So I see these people, like police officers, training on crap that never happens. I'm like, what are they training on? Why? A police officer is not trained to walk into a house on a domestic violence between a man and a woman. They walk in the house and a man and woman are arguing and having a discussion. The police officer's standing there going, okay, I'm going to listen to them argue for a minute. Yeah, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The husband and wife. Next thing you know, an 18-year-old son comes walking out of the back, pulls out a gun, shoots the cop, shoots his dad. Nobody saw that coming because they never trained for it, because that's what happens. There's no shooting scenario like that ever happens. So maybe some forces, some police departments are actually doing stuff like that, but they're too busy. I'm not even going to get into it, but they're too much, the ignorance that I've seen out there with the scenarios. Never happen. Never happen. Real life, nothing will ever prepare you for what's going to happen. Nothing. So I don't care what you do, who you are, you can train your entire life. And I can tell you, all these people that teach self-defense, you will never disarm somebody with a gun, because that's never going to happen. So nobody's going to come up and grab your wrist and then you grab their hand and you flip it over and you break their wrist. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So Full Circle Martial Arts out in Idabel, Oklahoma, I think. They're out there in Oklahoma. I was sitting in and on some of their self-defense things and their classes, watching them, and I was watching what they were doing, and they were teaching different steps, different scenarios. And I was thinking, man, this is weird. Why are they, this scenario wouldn't happen. This is a weird scenario. Then they teach, what are they doing? And then as I'm watching, I realized that at the end, he brings everything together. And I was like, holy cow, that was awesome. That would, you bring it all. He had all these different scenarios, and it reminded me of Karate Kid. Wax on, Danielson, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, sweeping broom, you sweep this way, sweep, do this, wash the car, you wash this way, clean the windows, paint, he was teaching him all these things. And so he's doing all these chores around his house. What are you teaching me? You're not teaching me anything. Then he goes to hit him and he blocks him. Wait a minute, I just been painting. He taught him how to do that stuff. And that's what they did out here at the Full Circle Martial Arts. They teach all these different, and that's going to help you out in real life scenarios. And they bring them all together so you can control, no matter what the situation is, you will be able to control it. You will control the situation, because now they've not taught you one or two moves on scenarios that are never going to happen. They showed you moves that do happen, but they're meant to come together because of something. No matter what the scenario is, if you can think for that split second, it will save your life in a split second. But you just need to remember, okay, I learned this, and this, and that will come back to you quickly when you learn it. So basically, that's, I want to go over it. I went over kind of two things at one time, but it is what it is. My podcast, like I said, I know not everybody's going to agree with everything you do. Scenarios, like I said, we need to be teaching our kids and people in school real scenarios. What are they supposed to do in these events of a real shooter, not some random person coming off the street? That's what you have to understand and know. So what happens when it's the principal or the cafeteria lady, the librarian, the security guard? What happens when it's their day to go nuts? So that's what you have to know. That's what we need to be teaching them. real life scenarios. Everybody needs real life scenarios, not made up crap that Hollywood did. So, this, I can't remember the, there's so many stupid shows out there. Just the stupidity of it all. Hollywood, all bang bang, shoot up everything. But yeah, we got to be anti-guns. But look at Hollywood. Look at the games the kids play. It's nothing but kill, 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 and kill some more. Bloody killing, killing, killing. What do you don't teach gun safety? All you're teaching Hollywood, all you teach is how to kill somebody. These games, all they teach is how to kill somebody. And then you guys wonder what's wrong with society, what's wrong with the world. It's so easy just to kill everybody. John Wick's killing everybody in his path, and everybody's killing each other there. John Wick just all kill, 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 kill. All these movies, all these shows, all they do is talk about killing, 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 killing. It's all there is. And then you wonder what's wrong. We're teaching our kids, and people are learning the wrong thing. They're learning how to do everything but be a man and be a woman. So I said it. I'm not afraid to say it. So be a man, be a woman. If you're anything else and think you're anything else, then you need to be on a watch list because you have a mental issue. So that's all there is to it. You need to be watched. So you need to be taken care of and be seen. And you should never, ever be allowed to have a gun. So period, because you're mentally unstable. And there's so many people that are mentally unstable that they should not be carrying a gun. And we tell people about this guy and that guy. They brush it off. He's harmless. No, he's not. No, she's not. So, it's not. But anyways, that does it for this show. I'm done. I've made my little rant. It's a little bit of reality. Let's teach our kids the right way and teach them real stuff, not fake stuff. So that's all I got to say about that. And I know I'm always going to upset somebody because today that you can't say good morning to somebody without upsetting them and getting them all butthurt over nothing. So get over it. Get a life. Stop thinking about killing everybody and hurting everybody, because that seems what society is. It's all about hurting everybody and destroying everybody. So try to be happy. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll be back for more. So thanks.